Okay, so yesterday we discussed about different data types and the data objects available in SAP ABAP, and we discussed about variable, constant, work area, and internal table. So, what is the statement to define data objects? Data statement is used to define the data objects. So, what is a variable? Variable is a data object which we can use to store data or a value in the program runtime. Okay, so that value of the variable can be changed during the program runtime. Also, we can clear the value available in the variable. If you take constant, so we define constants using constants keyword. And once you assign the value to the constant, the value cannot be changed during the program runtime. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what is a work area? Work area used to store a single record
A
in the
single
program
record.
runtime, right? Work area can contain one or more fields.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So internal table contains multiple records,
Uh,
more than one record. Okay,
uh,
it might contain one or more records, at least one record, and
uh,
maximum many records, right? So
yes, sir.
internal table is used to store multiple records during the program runtime, and this is the statement to define the internal table. Internal table name, type, table name or structure name. When we are working with database tables, so you can observe how we can access data from database to internal table.
So standard table of
Yeah, standard table and table of both are same. Okay,
okay, sir.
so we have different types of internal tables. We'll discuss that later. If you
Okay,
take
sir.
here, we have three different types of internal tables: standard internal table, sorted internal table, and hashed internal table. So like after few sessions I will start I'll work on internal tables.
Okay, sir.
Okay, defining the different types of internal table and working with these internal tables. Okay, each
Yes,
internal table have its own properties. So standard internal table will maintain the records only in the insertion order. How the records are inserted, it won't sort by any field or value. Okay, but the sorted internal table, right, for sorted internal table, it will automatically sort by, for example, employee id. Okay, the records will be automatically arranged in a sorted order. So
okay,
that
sir.
is a property of sorted, and like this we have different features available for each internal table. So we'll discuss in detail when we are working with internal tables and database tables data. Okay,
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
so now I told you we can store a single record in the work area, right, and multiple records in the internal table. How to
Yes.
process records in the internal table? So you cannot directly apply any operation on internal table record. First you need to move that record to work area, and you can apply any operations or calculations on that work area record. Similarly, if you want to add any new record to the internal table, what you need to do? First you need to populate that record into one work area, and you need to add that work area to internal table. Okay, or directly you can select data from database tables into work area. Okay, so you can directly read table records into internal table, or you can add records to internal table using work area one by one. Okay, clear? Anyway, I'll show you when we are working on the database operations. So we have seen data statement, constants, right, and
Yes, sir.
clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please mute. Give me a minute, I'll just join. Sorry. So let's open our program, yesterday's program. So what is the program we created yesterday? This is the one, data objects.
Demo
Yes.
program data
Yes.
objects.
So I'll show you one thing today. So yesterday we created few data objects and populated the values, and even we applied some calculations, right? So I'll
Yes,
show
sir.
you how to debug the program, how we can check what are the values that are populating to the variables and how they are working. So this called for that we can use a concept called debugging. Debugging. Okay, here you can see two buttons, right? Two red color one. These are to set the breakpoints. We have session breakpoint and external breakpoint. For now, we'll use session breakpoint. Session breakpoint. I'll explain external breakpoint later. Okay. So this is called session breakpoint. So you can keep breakpoint only at executable statements. These are the executable statements. These are data declarations, right? These are data declarations and these are executable statements. You can only debug the executable statements. How to set the breakpoint? You can see this area, right? Gray area. So if you select the line and if you click this, it will set the breakpoint. If you want to remove, click on this, it will be removed. Now let's execute the program. F8. So this is the debugger screen. This is the debugger screen. You can debug the program here and you can see how the data or values are populating into variables. Double click on this variable. Select desktop 3 here. Select desktop 3 here. Double click on the variable. Double click on this. Is there any value available in this variable? No, it is
No.
empty. What is the type of the variable? Character
Car.
Carrot.
10. Character 10. That is the data type. What is this? This is called
Like
hexadecimal
hex.
value. Hexadecimal value. Okay. Now here we have four keys, that is F5, F6, F7 and F8. F5, this is F5. Also you have
Yes.
available, you can use the keyboard shortcuts F5, F6, F7, F8, or you can also use the buttons available here. Single step, execute, return
Return.
and continue.
Continue.
So for now in this basic programming we can use only F5 or F6. Okay. If you
Yes.
click on F6, F5, F5 will execute line by line, line by line. Okay. F5 will execute line by line. F6 will execute function by function or line by line. If there is no function, it both F5 and F6 are same. Are we calling any functions here? No, right? We don't have any
No.
functions. So it is F5, F6 also will execute line by line. Okay. When we are using functions, right, then you can observe the difference. How F5 will work. F7 and F8 for now, it will complete the program execution at once. If you click F7, it will complete the program execution. Okay.
Written.
Yeah. There is no F7 and F8 are works as same way here. Okay.
F8
Okay,
is?
sir.
F8 means complete the program execution.
Okay.
When you use F7 is, for example, there is a function calling here inside the program, and we are inside the function. But at the time of execution, we have entered into the function code. Then
Okay.
you want to return back to the main program from the function. Then what key you need to use? F7.
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 If you use F7, it will take you back to the main program from the function. Okay.
Hmm.
Execute again. So use F5, double click on it. Use F5. It is populated the value. It is populated the value to the variable. Double click on the variable. You can see this is the value.
Value.
So this is the hexadecimal value of this variable. This value. Okay. If you want to
Okay.
change the value, you can change it in debugging. Click on the pen symbol, update the value. For example, 101. Click on enter. It will change the value. Okay. In debugging mode, for your testing purpose, if you want to change the values, you can change it like this. Click on the pen symbol, change the value. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now we have some value in employee ID. Next, what is the statement it is executing? Clear statement. It's cleared the value. It cleared the value, right? Now, again we are populating new value in this step. Control is this. And again, we are populating the phone number in the next line. Phone number is populated. What is this type? LV underscore value and LV underscore value 2. So phone number is number type. This is a integer type. Int 4. We call this as int 4. By default, int 4 will be assigned. 4 bytes. 4 means 4 bytes, not four numbers or 4 characters. Okay. 4
Okay, sir.
bytes will be assigned. Okay. So F5 value is populated. Value is populated. So the maximum value you can check here. Go to the debugger. Let me enter more values. So this is the no. This is the maximum allowed value for integer 4. Int 4. Okay. How many? 4, 4, 8 and 9. Right? This is the maximum allowed value. If you take int 8, it will give you more space to enter the value. Calculated the value to this LV underscore amount, and it is displaying the output. Click on F8. So you can observe how the data is populating, how the functionality whatever you implemented in the program is working. By using debugger, you can see that. Okay, clear? So going forward, whenever you create the program, right, keep a breakpoint and try to debug the program so that you can understand the process, how it is working. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
So today we'll see few more data objects, that is like I think we did not use packed decimal. Let me define one variable with packed decimal, or we'll check like yeah, we'll create a new program. Are we providing any input for the previous program? Is it asking for any input?
No, sir.
No,
It's
sir.
not asking for any input. How to provide the option to enter inputs so that we can calculate the values dynamically every time. if you enter the values in the program itself, every time you are going to calculate the same values, right? But if you
Yes,
can
sir.
provide an option to enter the user inputs, so user can calculate on his own requirement, right? How we are going to provide input options, we'll see now. Type of the program is executable program.
Package local where? Local.
Yeah,
Local.
local object. But in the project, you should select the actual package. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now, how to define user inputs in the selection screen. So when you define the user inputs, it will display the selection screen. What is selection screen? Selection screen is the screen where user needs to provide the input values. Okay. Selection screen will be displayed before execution of the program. So what is the syntax to define the parameters or user inputs? That is parameters. Okay. Parameter. We'll use some naming convention. For example, p underscore val1 type. I'll use packed decimal. P length 5 and what is required for packed decimal? Decimal places, right? Decimals are 2. I've defined one parameter. Let me define one more parameter. So I defined two parameters. Let's see how these parameters will display in the selection screen. Okay. So program is active. Now execute the program. Now what is this screen? Is it the output screen?
No, sir.
No, this is called a selection screen where user inputs will be displayed. User needs to enter the inputs. Once the inputs are entered, then it will display the output in which screen? Output screen. Okay. So when you are talking about the selection screen is nothing but where user needs to enter the inputs. Selection screen will be displayed before the user inputs. Okay. Before executing the actual logic. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now you see we have taken p underscore val, right? So for the users, think about think like a user. Like let's assume you are the user who is executing the program. Is he able to understand what is the value one? These are technical names. These are technical names of the parameter. So for easy understanding, we have to provide the labels, field labels. How can you provide the field labels or parameter labels? Here you can observe the option text elements, or in go to menu you have text elements and selection text. For example, first value provide like this, second value. Activate this. It is activated. Go back. Now execute the program. Now it
Sure,
is
sir.
easy to understand, right? So for the
Yes,
users, what they need to enter here, right? Since it's a simple program, so maybe we can able to understand. But in real time, we will be having 10 or 12 more parameters in the selection screen. So we have to provide a suitable field label per that parameter so that they can easily understand what is the value they have to enter. Correct? Now we have taken these two as inputs so that user can enter the values. Now let's display the output depends on the user inputs. For that, what we need? We need one variable, right? For output, taking the inputs and calculate the value to the output. For example, lv underscore output type p length 5 decimals 2. Now how to calculate the value? lv underscore output equal to p underscore val
Val
1,
1
maybe like
plus
this,
val
plus
2. Yeah, plus
p underscore
val 2.
val 2. Now how to display the output? Using write statement,
Right.
lv underscore output. Check the program,
Check.
activate the program.
Then program the
I'm keeping a breakpoint here at line number 12 because this is the first executable statement available in the program. These are all data declarations. Click here, it will set the breakpoint. Execute now. Is it going to trigger the breakpoint now when I execute the program?
do
Tell me, is it going to trigger the debugger if I execute the program? Execute. Server is slow. Please mute. There is some static noise. Yes. So what is the use of parameters? Parameter statement is used to define user inputs. Where can you see the user inputs? In the selection
in the
screen,
select.
program selection screen.
Yes, sir.
sir. Once can you explain how value 1 and value 2 are changed to first input and second input in selection screen?
Yeah, for that we need to navigate to go to text
Okay.
elements. There we have
Okay.
a option selection text. Selection text. Automatically, these parameters will be available here. So you
Okay,
need to
sir.
provide the text here, relevant text here. So whatever the text you provide here, that will be displayed in the selection screen and
Okay, sir.
activate it. Once it is activated, the text will be populated in the selection screen. So the shortcut is this text element. This is the shortcut. Or
Okay.
you can navigate to go to menu and text elements
Excellent.
and selection text. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now I
Thank you.
have executed the program. Debugger did not trigger. Why? Because the statement is not yet executed. First it will display selection screen. Once the user entered the input,
Then only it will go to
then only it will go to the
executed.
executable statements. Execute.
Then it will open debugger.
I just
Okay.
entered 10 and 12, right? Did I enter the decimal places? We have two decimal
Mm.
places. No, right? I did not enter the decimal places. By default, it will
It,
populate zeros as decimals, right?
Okay.
This is LV underscore output. By default, the value is this 0.2 decimal places. Click on F5. Calculation is completed. 10 plus 2, 22. The output is populated to here. That is the output.
how did we get 2, sir, before?
Which one?
When we debug,
Okay.
we got 2, right? After clicking F5, we got 22.
Hmm.
Means why did we get 2?
Where 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 is it? Where is the two? So we have three here. Two parameters. Parameter
Okay.
1 and parameter 2. That is for user inputs, and we have one variable that is to handle the output, right?
No.
That is to hold the output. So initially the output will be empty. There is no value
Oh,
in the output, right? So when you click on F5, the value will be populated by combining by summing up this value 1 and value 2.
okay, sir.
So you can apply any arithmetic operation here, right? And you can pass the values dynamically, right? You don't need to hard code the values when you are using parameters. Every time you can calculate for a new value, new combination of values, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now F5. So the value is populated to LV underscore output 10 plus 12, 22, right?
Yes, sir.
And we'll change the arithmetic operation minus, execute the program 5 minus 20. Let's see how it will work. Minus 15, right? So it can handle negative values also, correct?
Yes, sir.
You can also use multiplication.
Sir, by using debugger,
Hmm.
we just see how data is means
Yes,
paraphrased,
how,
right?
yeah, how the code is working, how the code is executing, how data is populating to the data objects. Usually in
Okay.
projects, right, when we got the errors in the program, how can you find the errors? In which line of code it is? By using debugging only.
Debugging. Yes, sir.
Okay. So debugging is very important. When you are working in the support projects, right? Most of the times you need to debug the issues, find the issues.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
For that, debugging is very helpful to identifying the issues. multiplication, if you want to pass decimal places, you can also pass 10.5, 11.7, like that. Okay. So this is the value. It will calculate along with the decimal places. That is what packed decimal. So parameter can be anything. Okay, you can define one more parameter using date type, date, time, p underscore date, type, d. Activate. So it will create one parameter with the type date. Here we can enter date. Okay. For that, when you created the date parameter, there is no selection text, right? How can you maintain the selection text? Go to text elements and selection text. Here, date is automatically added. For example, some created date or something. Okay. Now I'll show you one thing. Now I am executing the program. Did I enter any inputs?
No, sir.
No.
It is executed, right?
Yes.
But I should not allow that. Without the user inputs, I should not allow the program to be executed because inputs are mandatory to calculate the value, right?
Yes, sir.
So how can I do that? For that, we have a keyword, that is for parameters you can use obligatory. Obligatory means it is a mandatory input. Without entering obligatory, so without entering the input, it won't proceed further. Okay. Activate it. Now if you observe, a red color star mark is added, right, for both parameters.
Yes, sir.
For date, that is not available. What does that mean? Wherever you see in SAP, right, in SAP, any standard screens or any standard functionalities, if you see this red color asterisk symbol, what does that mean? That is a mandatory input. Without providing value for that input, we cannot proceed further. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Now let's try executing it. Fill out all required fields. It is not allowing you to proceed further without entering that input. So now we have to enter input for this. Then only it will allow you to proceed further. For example, I want to populate some default value to the parameter. How can you populate a default value? Using a default keyword. Default and the value, for example, 10.50. This is the default value for p underscore value 1. So the value is populated here, right? Automatically without entering manually because we are using default keyword. So it is automatically populating value as default value. Okay. For example, if you need populate default value for the date, So this is the default value for date. In which format we have to populate, in which format we have to pass? In SAP's internal format, right? When we are providing the input, in which format you have to provide? When we are passing the input, you have to pass the input in this format.
Date, month,
External,
year.
yeah, external format with separator. Okay, but it will automatically convert the date into internal format.
Okay, sir.
You can also calculate the date. Okay, you can also calculate the date like this. uh, Data, let me define one variable, date 1 type D. You can also find past days, future days like that, future date, past date like that. How can you do that? I want to find the past date. LV underscore date 1 equal to, it will give minus 10 days. It will do date minus 10 days. So you can also calculate the past date using like this, 10 days previous date. January 29th is the 10 days previous date, right? So you can also calculate future dates, past dates like that, okay, on dates. I'm not displaying the date as output. So is everyone able to understand?
Yes, sir.
So how to calculate the past date? You can do date minus 10, date minus 30, like that, okay. Future date, just need to plus, it will give you future date, okay. Is everyone clear?